Hello, welcome. So for today's video, we're going to talk about the measures of position. So at the end of this video, you should be able to identify the different measures of position. You can differentiate the measures of position. You are able to solve mathematics problems involving measures of position, and you're going to interpret the values of the measures of position. So, let us start by defining the three different types of measures of position. So first, we will start with quartile. So, quartile is the measure of position that divide the distribution into 4 equal parts. So, base, it depends on the number of the observation that you have, and then the data or the number of observation will be divided into 4. So, from the word quarter, you can derive the word quartile. So, that's why it's named quartile, so that you can remember that if you use quartile, you are dividing the number of observation into 4 equal parts. So, we have what we call the first quartile, the second quartile, the third quartile, and the fourth quartile. That if you belong in the first quartile, it simply means that you are above the 25% of the total number of observation. And if you belong to the second quartile, it simply means that you are above the 50% of the observation. If you are on the third quartile, you are above 75% of the observation. And if you are on the fourth quartile, it simply means that you are in the top of the observation. You are 100% on top of the observation. Okay? So the next is we have decile. So if you're familiar with decagon, which is a polygon that is composed of 10 sides, a decile is also composed of 10 equal parts. So it simply means that when we use decile, we are dividing the distribution into 10 equal parts. So, if you will convert these 10 equal parts into percentage, then each part on a decile is composed of 10%. So, if you belong to the first decile, then you are above the 10% of the total score. If you belong on the 30th decile, it simply means that you are above the 30% of the observation. And if you are on the 80th decile, it simply means that you are above the 80% of the observation. And if you are on the 10th decile or the 100%, it simply means that you are on the top of the observation, or at 100% higher from the rest of the observation. So the last one for measures of position is what we call percentile. So percentile comes from the word percentage, wherein you are dividing the distribution into 100 equal parts. So, since it is already in 100%, each point will give you how many percent are you on top of the rest of the observation. So if you are on the 58th percentile, and then you are above the 58% of the observation, while the 42% of the observation is above you. And if you are on the 75th percentile, it simply means that you are on top of the 75 of the rest of the observation, while 25% of the observation is above you. So, upon getting the measures of position, it also comes with the group and ungrouped data. So, on this video, you're going to learn on how to get the measures of position for ungrouped and then afterwards for group data. So for the formula, we have Q of K is equal to K over 4 times N plus 1 for quartile. P of K is equal to K over 10 times N plus 1 for decile. And P over K is equal to K over 100 times N plus 1. Where Q of K stands for quartile, T of K stands for decile, P of K stands for percentile, and K is for the desired position, while N is the total number of the observation. So, if you are going to get the quartile, your K will be playing around 1, 2, and 3. If you're going to look for the decile, and then your K should be 1 and up to 9. And then if you're going to use K, P of K or percentile, you're going to use up to 99 for your desired position. And don't forget that if you're going to get the measures of position for ungrouped data, you should always follow the method like you are doing in a Michan, where you should arrange the data in ascending order. So next is we have the measures of position for group data. So for group data, we have Q of K is equal to lower boundary plus parenthesis K N over 4 minus CF of the lower boundary over F of Q K times I or the interval. Wherein Q of K stands for quartile, D of K stands for decile, P of K stands for percentile, and K is for the desired position, N is for the number of observation, and for the rest of the formula that you will be using is from the median of the group data. So, the way you should get the measures of position of a group data depends on how you perform on getting the median of the group data. Wherein, you should start with Kn over 4 or Kn over 10 or K times N over 100 for you to be able to locate the rest of the data, because it will be your median class or quartile class or decile class or your percentile class. So on this part of measures of position, you should master how to get the median of the group data. So if you're having struggles on finding the lower boundary, the less than CF, or the less than cumulative frequency of your median class, quartile class, decile class, and percentile class, then you should help yourself in finding resources or activities or ways to practice how to get the measures of measures of central tendency, specifically the median of the group data, and then continue it with the measures of position with quartile, decile, and percentile of the group data. So, for the next video, we will start discussing about probability.